And I realized I've got to respect this guy because he's put in the effort. He's taken the time to learn the skills. He's put in the practice to it. And he is far superior to me in this whole area. I want you to imagine a situation here. You know, you're just diagnosed with a brain tumor, okay? And you've got two options. You can go see a neurosurgeon who graduated in just about the bottom third of his class. Or you can go see the number one best computer programmer in the world. Which one of those people do you want to go see to treat your brain tumor? Now, if you're like me, even though this computer programmer is probably way, way smarter and a really intelligent guy with great hair, you're probably going to pick the neurosurgeon who wasn't necessarily the best at his job because he has a specialized knowledge that you are in need of right now, desperately in need of in that case. Specialized knowledge is knowledge that you can apply to a specific need that you have. Doesn't matter how smart you are, how talented you are. Specialized knowledge is what is needed to finish the task, to move ahead in the career, the goals that you have set. And in the world today, I'm getting older now. There are changes in the world that I never imagined. I was watching a documentary on TV a little while ago, and one of the experts that spoke was a paleoclimatologist. I don't know about you, but I had never thought that paleoclimatology, or the study of climates in prehistoric times, was an entire career field. I thought it was maybe a footnote in something. But nowadays, there is so much knowledge out there that you have to become specialized in what you want to do. Being a climatologist, a history person, archaeologist, anthropologist doesn't cut it. You've got to go into climate paleontology if you want to study that field, which I just looked up and is one of the faster growing careers out there. So any young people watching this today, that might be an option for you if you want to know if it was cold during the Ice Age, which is about my knowledge of it. But specialized knowledge really is what's going to move you ahead of somebody else. A great example of that is a man named Walter. So in 1908, Walter went to the Chicago Auto Show, and he bought a Locomobile touring coupe. Took it home to his house in Detroit, put it in the garage, and he took it apart. Then he put it back together. Then he took it apart again. Then he put it back together, and he kept doing this until he became an expert in how this car worked. Every bit, every piece of it. And then he started his own company. If you don't know, Walter's last name was Chrysler. So this is how the Chrysler Motor Company started out. Walter Chrysler recognized that automobiles were the future. And if he wanted to be part of that, he wanted to be in that creation process, he needed to know more about automobiles than any other person out there. And he went through repetition over and over again, taking apart this car till he understood the purpose behind every single piece of it. Now, without that effort to put in to specialized knowledge, we're never going to get there. Without that goal of what we're trying to accomplish, without that desire to learn more and to grow. But in the end, it's going to come down to the work we put in to gaining that knowledge, to become better than everyone else. Now, famous internet personality Mr. Beast once made a comment that to get 100 times more views on a video, you don't have to be 100 times better than the next video. You just have to be 0.1% better than the next video to capture all of that. Now, I think with specialized knowledge that you might need a little bit more. I think you can't rely on being just a tiny bit better than someone else. You've got to prove yourself to be the best person or at least the best person around at accomplishing the goal, at knowing what it takes to fix the goal that you have. Um, just like that neurosurgeon versus the computer programmer. The neurosurgeon has to be good enough. If he graduated bottom in his class, you might take your odds on the computer programmer. But if he's got enough knowledge and he's high enough above the next person there, you're going to run to that neurosurgeon to solve your problem for you. Now, specialized knowledge, I'm going to jump here to a lesson I learned about a little while ago. Specialized knowledge is not general knowledge. It's not necessarily even being smart. There's a difference between intelligence and specialized knowledge. And I was at a friend's house, and he had some work being done on his house, and there was a handyman doing some of the work. And I'm gonna apologize for something bad that I thought. I was talking to this handyman, and I thought, he's really not that smart. Okay, judgmental. I should not do that. I learned a lesson from this. Then I started looking at what he was doing as he was working in this house. And I thought, I have no idea how to do any of that stuff. I consider myself to be a fairly smart guy. And this guy that I didn't think was all that smart knew what he was doing. He knew how to measure, how to estimate, how to figure what materials were needed, what tools were going to be needed, how to utilize those tools to make a product that looked good and it was a quality, something that I could not begin to do. But he had a specialized knowledge that I simply didn't have. And I realized I've got to respect this guy because he's put in the effort. He's taken the time to learn the skills. He's put in the practice to it. And he is far superior to me in this whole area. It made me wonder if maybe my specialized knowledge is not that practical sometimes. Hopefully I can put it into something a little practical, and you can put in the comments here and let me know if I'm succeeding or not. But specialized knowledge is, as I was looking through this, I said, okay, this is the simplest, most obvious of any of these skills Napoleon Hill teaches. Yeah, you got to know how to do what you're trying to do. If you don't have knowledge about it, you are going to fail. I was working on a project, a new company I'm working on setting up, and the actual company, what we do, I have no knowledge in. I know how to set up a company, how to market it, and how to run it. I don't know how to do the actual work. So I had to go and start studying that side of it. And I grabbed a partner who knows that side of it. And that's the next part of specialized knowledge I want to point out. We need to have specialized knowledge, but we don't always have to know everything ourselves. I grabbed a partner who had a specialized knowledge in the actual product we were working at. Henry Ford famously was being on trial about whether or not he really knew everything about automobiles and automobile manufacturing. And he got fed up with the judges. And he said, I've got a row of buttons on my desk that I can push that will connect me directly with a dozen engineers who can answer any question I have. Specialized knowledge, we have to learn, but we also have to know how to find that specialized knowledge. The world today is so complicated, we can't know everything. We can Google and get facts instantly. You want to know who fought in the War of the Roses? You can find it instantly. England and somebody else. I didn't look that one up. You want to know, what was the difference between Paleolithic and Mesolithic? You can Google it. You want to know how to run a company? You can't Google that. It's ungoogleable. That's a new word for you. Ungoogleable information. You have to find that. You have to study it. You have to work it out. Now, my wife grew up in Hong Kong. When she was in school, she was taught to memorize everything. She could recite answers. Great. Matter of fact, she still is kind of like Google. I can ask her something, she can recite the answer to it. But she complains that she never learned how to apply that knowledge, how to make the specialized knowledge applicable to what she needed to do. There was no problem solving in it. And that's really what specialized knowledge becomes. How do you get the knowledge to problem solve your narrow field? And again, it takes the time and effort to put in to learn your field. You have to have a broad knowledge, but you have to have a deep, specific knowledge in your field to be successful today. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I think one of the greatest, I love sayings and quote, if you've been following along, you know that about me by now. One of my favorite ones is survey wide fields, cultivate small fields. And I think that's the key to success. If you want specialized knowledge, you want to be, well, I should say, if you want to be successful, you need to have specialized knowledge. You need to have a broad understanding of a lot of things, but you need a deep, deep understanding of your field so that you are an expert that people will go to, will look to, and dare I say, will pay for your knowledge to move forward. So I just want to finish that with the idea that if you're not taking time to delve deep into your field, to become the expert in your field, start doing it. It's not that hard. It just takes some time. So if that is your weak link, specialized knowledge, learn more than anyone else about your field.